I'd say the most difficult thing about entrepreneurship is that it's really fucking tough.
It's been nearly 2 years since we started working together, Rav, so I think it's time I asked you, why did you build a Market Mogul?
So I decided to learn to code by watching YouTube videos to build the first version of what was the Market Mogul, essentially a place to start off with, me to write about the things that I really cared about in the world around me, but then also for my friends and like other people from unis to also begin contributing. That manifests itself to where we are today. And how did you get into journalism?
Well, I wrote in one of my editor's letter that I saw the Romanian Revolution and the fall of communism firsthand, and it all happened through a lot of media manipulation and people being unaware of what was actually going on in the country. And that's sort of the first moment that something sort of clicked, because I thought this should not have happened, this should never happen again. We were so scared. It was a pretty shocking moment. I moved to Bucharest, the capital of Romania, and I got my first job, full-time job in journalism in my first year. And it was kind of fun because they were looking for fourth-year students. But I called anyway, and I didn't know that it was actually the editor-in-chief that picked up. And the guy says, "Well, what year are you?" I said, "I'm first year." And he says, "Oh, no, you're way too young." I said, "Well, I'm actually very smart. You should give me a chance." So the guy was so taken aback that he did. I went in and they asked me to translate an article from the Financial Times into Romanian. And I did, and I got a job in 10 minutes.
Wow. What would you say is, I guess the most difficult thing about journalism?
Objectivity is a very difficult thing. You're trained in school and they tell you, you need to be objective, but objective is a subjective thing, because at the end of the day it's really hard not to portray events through your own lens. So you need to sort of make sure the way you present things is as objective as possible, but at the end of the day it will still have that personal touch. What I like about the Market Mogul is that we get that other different perspective that could just shed a little bit more light.
The quality of journalism in the last decade has declined so much to now it's a race to the bottom with like clickbait and all that kind of stuff, where it's kind of like diminished what it actually means to be a journalist, in my opinion.
Journalism has changed a lot. I'm very old school. I believe in objectivity, the bigger picture, giving something back to your readers because you're there to serve. We are at the end of the day doing a public service. That's why old school journalists like me are out there. And it's really hard to see that something you've loved so much for such a long time has completely changed in some instances. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur, Rav? I mean, you've been doing it for a few years now.
The best thing about entrepreneurship is the fact that I can spend every single day, every hour of every day, working on the vision that I have to really make an impact on the world, and having just a really awesome team that is just as empowered as I am.
And what's the most difficult thing about entrepreneurship?
I'd say the most difficult thing about entrepreneurship is that it's really fucking tough. Like, you are doing something that hasn't been done before. You're dealing with the day-to-days of a business. You're figuring things out for the first time. The first time I had to hire someone, the first time I had to let someone go, the first time I had to sort out payroll or build a financial model or speak to investors or raise capital. You're doing everything for the first time, hoping to God you don't screw it up. You just keep pushing through, you keep learning a new thing, you keep fucking something up, but then taking a new route that is actually a lot clearer and better for you. Entrepreneurship is tough, and that's probably the worst, but also one of the good things about it, because for me anyway, I love a challenge. I'm incredibly competitive. What makes you happy?
A good movie makes me happy. Doing something with meaning makes me happy, and circles back to journalism. Doing this job makes me happy. Coming in and seeing people I like every day makes me happy. I mean, you can't love a job unless you really like the people you work with.
Yeah.
What do you hate?
What do I hate? I hate mediocrity. It really, really annoys me because I personally think that everyone is very special in their own ways, and mediocrity is kind of like just like settling for okay. When we're all born or gifted with so many different talents, why can't we all just be the best selves? One of the most important lessons is to never compromise on your view of excellence.
What scares me the most is the idea of unfulfilled potential,
Yeah.
of not reaching that person that you can be, that potential, that amazing, not using that amazing gift that each and every one of us was given, like you just said.
Yeah.
Not having the courage to do that, or not being aware of what your gift is, or not believing in yourself enough to sort of pursue that dream. I don't want to look back when I'm 80 and think, oh, this was the wrong path. But not becoming the best person you can be, the most successful person you can be, something that really scares me. We all sort of tend to feel sorry for ourselves when we're dealing with a lot of pressure, and we think our problems are the biggest, and that's a human thing. I had the pleasure of interviewing Rudolph Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, and he was the mayor of New York when September 11 happened. He was talking about how when he got there, the first thing he saw was a man jumping to his death because he knew he wouldn't be saved. And he talked about the decisions that he had to make in those moments and on those days. It was probably the most incredible interview I've ever had to do. Yeah. And then I thought, I have problems? No, I don't have any problems. These are real problems that people have to deal with as a manager, as a human being. And literally the next day, everything about me changed. I calmed down, I dealt with stress in a completely different way, and I just sort of focused, rather than on what was stressing me out and the problem, on the solution and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to be better at my job. And that's something that stayed with me ever since.